Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Stag Stuff, and as you can see we're still in the garage. Some of you will know I've had a problem with hot starting the car. She floods, so if I leave her more than 15 minutes then she won't start happily at all. So normally I just try to leave her for about an hour and 15 and then she's fine once again. So we've tried sorting it out at Faversham and they are not quite sure what the problem is because the carburetor apparently is set up perfectly. So there are three things that I have done some research on that can cause carburetor to flood. One is the float levels and needle pins to needle valves rather. Another one is the pressure from the fuel pump. And then finally, it's a case of, is there a problem with the insulation block? And I'm just wondering, because that's not something I've looked at. I'm wondering perhaps if it is the insulation block. Well, we're going to find out because I'm going to address all the issues. And while I'm at it, I'm literally taking the carburetors apart. I'm going to have a look at a whole load of other things as well. We're going to start with the jet depth. I'm going to have a little look just to make sure that that is correct as well. So join me. Okay, so I've already partially stripped this and well, let's just get this off. I've put down a load of tissue paper on the bench, because we don't want any gunk getting into the carbs, but also B, it does make it nice and easy to see where you've put things. You don't lose stuff. I'm going to completely do one carb and then I'll completely do the other one. So I'm not planning to fast forward on anything, so you can kind of see how this goes. Right, so we've got that off. Leave that upright. So you've probably seen on quite a few other people's videos there is a nick just underneath the rubber diaphragm here. So I'll just take this out. Where are we now? There is a nick just here. Did that line up? Yes, it did. That's fine. Let's just have a little look at the needle itself. Yep, that's nice. Okay, there's a little bit of spring in it. That's exactly what we want. And it looks like it's seated just fine. As I say, this was all sorted for me by Faversham, so I'm not expecting to see any issues here at all. But what we're now going to do is to just check that the depth of the jet is set right. So I need a trusty little tool here, and it should be set for 1 thou. Or where are we now? That is in metric. That is 2.54 millimeters. So I'm going to actually set it for millimeters. And I've got a little thing that drops down here. So let's just, yep, we're set right to start with. Where's that going to go? That's going to go there. Have that on the bottom. Drop this down. I'm getting a reading of 2.64. So I think that is close enough. I don't think that's going to be an issue. Do let me know if you disagree with me. So while I've got this open, in the kit that I've also got some new O-rings that have come for the temperature compensator. So I think I'm going to open this up and have a look in here as well. Just make sure that's working, because while it's off, we may as well do everything. So it seems silly not to when we've got access, you know, easy access to things like that. And that was a bit loose. That came off far too easy. That's more like it. That doesn't want to come off. Don't think this screw's got anything to do with it. I think this is the screw that they say needs to be screwed all the way in, and it's not either. So it's been a good idea to just check this over, make sure it's nice and clean. That's a bit gunky. That could probably do with a bit of a clean up anyway, so I'll do that too. And here we go. Lovely. Okay, so as you can see with the temperature compensator, the plunger is all the way down. So that says to me that's working just fine. So I've got a new seal for that. So I'm going to get rid of that in my little box of goodies from a certain spares parts supplier. You probably recognise the bags. Others are equally as good. Small temperature compensator seal. That's the one. And then put the large seal on. Says I don't remember actually seeing a small seal when I took this off, so could that have had an effect? Who knows? So anyway, that doesn't seem to be sitting properly. Whoop. Okay, let me just see. We've got two seals down here, have we? Now that's the new one I've just put in. There is. There's the original one. Never came out. There it is. Right, put that one over there. Okay. I'll give that a bit of a clean. Okay. So, small seal. Get that nicely seated. There it is. Big seal on the compensator. There we go. That is now seated just as I want it. Lovely. Right, now we can get back on with it. So, temperature compensator is done. Fine tuning needle done. checked the depth of the jet. Done. So we're now going to take this off. God blimey. There we go. Just needed some encouragement. It doesn't look dirty. Anyway, got a new one of those, and we've got a new washer for that somewhere. Don't need the carb needles, I'm not going to change those. O-ring float chamber. Not changing those either. Okay, do the washers come with the new needle? How do you get into this? Ah, there we go. Right. And there is no washer with this. This is a good kit then, isn't it? You think that there would be. I bought it as a complete kit because the needle valves came with this kit for just a couple of quid extra. Right, okay, I'm going to use this one again, so let's just make sure it's nice and clean. Put that there. Put that there. It's seated nicely. That back in. Make sure it's nice and tight. Okay. Make sure it's yeah, that's good. Right. Now, of course, I've done that. Now I can put this back on. I better recheck the float levels, having taken them off. Right. So, $20, $19, $18. That is spot on still. Okay. So, now I want gasket. Go. So it's nice and clean. Make sure there's no rubbish in there. Of course, that would completely defeat the object of cleaning it all up. Put that on. Short ones go there. Okay, so I'm quite happy with the condition of this diaphragm, so we're going to pop that back on. So we note where we have got the dip here. In fact, I think I'm just going to give that a tiny bit of a clean up. So we've got the dip just there. And you can see we've got the dip just here. Make sure they line up. And also make sure that we get our needle nicely lined with the jet. There it is. You can feel that. And then just I'm seating that in here. There we go. It can feel. Can feel I'm sort of trying to twist it, it won't, because that is nicely seated into place. So make sure that we've got that home. Right, so we've got that nicely seated. Spring in. And we want to get this. It's going to go that way. No, it's going to go that way. So we've got the notch here to line up with the notch here. Put this on. There we go. Job's a good one. Right. Screws. Okay. So that's that rebuilt and set up nicely. I'm just going to make sure that yeah, it's got good travel on it, that feels right, and yeah, that's fine, no resistance. We are hopefully good to go with this one. I shall do exactly the same with the other, and then we will pop it back on, but having removed, oh, come on, off you get, you bugger. That's it. This does look rather old. I don't know whether it's still working or not, but we shall put a fresh one on when we rebuild. Okay, now I've just come across something interesting. So, on the needle valve that I did have fitted, it had a washer. The needle valves that have come with the kit from Rimmers, oh, there we go, I've said it now, haven't I? Didn't have a washer, but I'm just going to chuck this over here because it turns out I don't want it. I don't know whether you can see, but the Rimmers one, although the actual bolt is the same height, the shank below the bolt is thicker. So you actually, put that over there, don't want to fit a washer with the OEM needle valve, because otherwise, of course, it's then going to throw the height of the float setting if you do. So I'm going to do that one up, which means I'm going to have to take the one that I've just done apart, but better to find out now than later. Right, so that's that done. Now then, let's just do, while I've got you on, let's just do the height of the float on this side. Okay, so let's just set my little device to 18, so it's 20, 19, 18. Oh, now that is different. Ha! Look at that. That is well down. I don't know whether you can see. Okay, many apologies for my crappy filming. I didn't realise that my camera wasn't pointing in the right direction. So what I'm doing here is measuring the height of the float, and I'm measuring it from the top of the carburetor with the gasket removed to the top of the float. Now it's got to be at this end of the float, nearest end to where the hinge is, not this end here. And I'm looking for a distance between 16 and 17 millimeters from this point here. And then you can adjust it by bending this piece of metal just here. So press the metal down to raise the float up, lift this piece of metal up to drop the float down. So you just basically keep on working that until you've got that 16 to 17 millimeters height at that point. We want that to come up. So we want to press this down. I think that's a bit too high now, but we'll just have a look. That's a bit high. Just drop that down. A bit further down, a smidgen down. Yes, that is good. Okay. So we'll put a new seal on. Now I'm not going to go, oh dear, I just did. Right. There she is. So at least we know that one wasn't, or at least I don't think it was quite right. That's that. Right. So I'll put the top back on and redo this one. Okay, so we are now at the point where I'm going to be fitting these new insulator pads. So one thing that I'm not quite sure about, I don't know whether you can see, there is an arrow on one side of it, and I've got no idea why there is an arrow there, but there is. So it's just square, isn't it? So it doesn't make any difference if it goes that way round or that way round. Well, I think I'm just going to put it that way round and be done with it. So let's put this back on now that all the gubbins are sorted out with it. There we go. So we've got her mounted, that's fine. And what have I done with the big bolts? I believe, yeah, I've got them over here. 2, 3, 4 washers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lovely. So we'll just set about mounting this back on. So they're all loosely tightened, so now let's tighten them. Okay, that's good. Get in. I don't want to. That's good. Good. Okay. Right, that's that side done. Now take this one off and put the new insulator on. And I must admit, it's very, very different material. This is kind of like a plasticky sort of thing. I'm really not sure what this old one was made of. But the interesting thing is, it kind of looks like it is so old, it's absorbed moisture somehow, or oil or whatever. And I don't know if that is allowing heat to transfer across. Being as this is always a problem in the summer and when the sun is on the car, I'm just wondering if the insulator pad has failed. Right, I shall put this in line with the other one. Right. So we've got reassembled, ready to go back onto the car. So let's get that done and then keep our fingers crossed. So that's basically that job done. Once she's back on, I'm then going to be testing the fuel pressure. Okay, so the good news is she's all back together. She started first time. I've taken her out for a test drive, and everything feels okay, so that's good. Plenty of power, nice and smooth. So what I'm going to do now is the last of my little projects, which is to check the fuel pressure. So somewhere I've got an old hose and gauge, that's the word I'm looking for. So we're going to slap that on, see what she's running at. Now I don't want any nasty surprises when I take this hose off. So I've got some tissue here, and in fact I think I'm going to get plenty more because I've got quite a warm exhaust at the moment. There we go. They're on the side of caution. There shouldn't be any spurting out because that is a fuel pressure cutoff. So as soon as I turn off the ignition, cuts off the fuel pressure. So I was thinking that I'd got too much pressure beforehand. So it fitted this, and there we go, there comes the petrol coming out of there. So there is pressure in the carb, but it's just a case of, is there going to be too much or not? There we go, lovely. So attach aforementioned go. Let's pop that on. Pop this on. And right, let's screw that in place. Screw that one up. That's good. So what we're looking for, 2.8 psi. So let's move those out of the way. We'll start the car. Oh, there we go. 2.5 psi. Well guys, so the pressure is okay. It was actually running at 2.5. Stags are supposed to run at 2.8. So it's not over pressuring the fuel system. So who knows? I will let you know if I still continue to have a hot start problem. The only thing that I can now think that might be a culprit, and I will only find out if it now does flood when I next take her out, is I've got this cutoff switch just here. So am I, by using that cutoff switch and not allowing pressure to build between the carburetor and the fuel tank, am I actually not allowing enough, shall we say, space, flow back, whatever, because as soon as the engine stops, that then stops any movement of pressure. So maybe if I still get a hot start problem, I'm going to bypass this cutoff valve. I'll plumb this fuel line straight into the fuel pressure regulator, and see if that makes a difference. So thanks very much for watching another episode of Stag Stuff. Let's see if what I've done fixes the problem. If it doesn't, I'll let you know if the fuel pressure regulator does the trick. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and thanks very much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please do click on the like and subscribe buttons. And if you click on the bell, YouTube will be good enough to even notify you when we post new videos.